Hi guys, my name is Olaf. I am the head of relationship engineering technologies at Sierra Meta Intel. It's a Pennsylvania-based company which specializes in operationalizing relationships for businesses and governments, helping them to activate, involve, commit their stakeholders, internal stakeholders and external stakeholders at scale, primarily based on cognitive sciences and with a heavy digital footprint. Many people ask me about the importance of trust and what about how to go about trust. It's a concept that many people are kind of yeah, awkward about, not easy to define, and also not knowing how to operationalize that. So without further ado, I hope that you will spend about 7 minutes with me on this topic, and then hopefully that we have never to spend those minutes on trust again, because it is a highly overrated concept. Let's get on with it. So the reason why you and other people are so keen on customer trust is, of course, that there's a lot going on in markets, in organization, where you constantly know that customers, stakeholders might at any point drop out on you. Change is happening out there in your organization, out there in the marketplace, and you're not sure that everyone stays on board. You also know that there's no link between a job well done and loyalty. That is something else. And so you think that trust is important to actually make the bridge between happy customers and loyal customers. You also have your innovation agenda, and you need to make sure that you have a loyal customer base that is actually willing to go along with you, etc., etc. We also know, of course, that our organization has its limitations. Customers want individual attention. We're not always able to deliver that, and so on. So you find here some bullet points where typically people say, these are the reasons why we need trust. On the other hand, it's kind of weird that people are so keen on trust, because if you do a really good job, if your other customers say so, if you make your customers pay up front, if you deliver what you promise to people, then why would you worry? Why would actually people walk away from you? The previous slide was more kind of the public debate about trust. Or so when you initially start, these are the arguments that come up. When we take a little bit more structured approach, then this is more interesting. Why we really need trust is that from four views, there's actually a legitimate reason why we need trust. So trust is important, meaning that from an operating view, customers need to know how to use your products and services in most optimal fashion. It means that they need to actually be open to the information that you provide to them, and for that customers need to trust you. They will also need to trust you because whenever they have problems, they need to come back to you. So that's like purely operationally. From a performance view, of course, you have continually new ideas for value, improvement, innovation, and so on, and you want your customers to pay more attention to you than to your competitors. From an organizational perspective, it is clear that we are not always able to deliver the best service. So customers sometimes need to be lenient, need to wait, cannot always be informed about the status of the work that we're doing for them, and so on. So it's not always easy to keep everybody happy, especially because we spend a lot of time on other customers and on new customers, which may be frustrating to existing customers. From a social perspective, we know that we have, over the last 20 years, we have operationalized communities. We are trying to be empathetic, to listen to our customers, but that doesn't mean that we have intimacy with them, that we know everything about them, and it doesn't mean that they are members of our organizations. I mean, they're still outside, and customers themselves know that too, so we need to make a trust contract. We are highly relevant to our customers, but we know that we don't always have the legitimacy to stay in touch with them. So we have an issue of how often can we actually disturb them or come up with our notifications and so on. We also know, and that is correct, that our honesty, authenticity, consistency, and predictability may be immense, but it doesn't mean that we can achieve customer trust in all of the above or solve all of the above issues or challenges. Most interesting is also to take note of some paradoxes around trust, and that is really interesting. So there's little trust in the trustworthy organization, meaning that an organization where everything has been looked after and in a perfect way, it also very often is an organization where little deviation from the normal is possible, little improvisation is possible. So it means that it's very trustworthy. It's almost like military or bureaucratic. It's, you know that it's gonna work, but it isn't really like really flexible. So there's always like this trade-off. And we always say like that if all the IATA rules would be strictly followed by traffic controllers and pilots, then there would actually no airplane that would land safely. So a lot of communication is needed between specialists in order to achieve trustworthiness. It cannot just be organized fully. It cannot be captured completely. Trust is also not something that is built, but is something that is lost. Indeed, high trust and loyalty are recorded among first-time customers. That's kind of weird, and I can come back to that later. But it is true. When people have done a huge effort to become your first-time customer, then they generally are loyal and they trust you because they have actually made already that step in their mind. But then, of course, they get to know you, and then it actually becomes more challenging. It's easy to have butterflies, but it's more difficult to operate a 20-year successful relationship. The interactional concept of trust cannot be communicated. As soon as people start asking for trust, then we have an issue. So trust is something which is latent, it's there, but it's very hard that once we start to discuss it, then we're all over the place and actually trust mostly then is being lost. People have trust, yet they still seek it. Apparently there is some kind of an asymmetry there. Most customers actually trust the companies that they buy from, but for companies it's never enough and they are actually afraid for the future. But actually customers very often take it step by step. So if we would just take it easy then. But companies try to look further ahead and they know that they cannot ask that type of commitment then from their customers. Final slide is actually the way out, and then I'm gonna leave you. The way out is that we should see trust not as a state, as an outcome, as a desirable outcome, but as the start of a process, which I call relational thrust. It's more kind of, once you have trust, which you gain from your quality, your honesty, authenticity, your consistency and predictability, then actually from there you can step up your game. I mean, customers who give you trust allow you to come up with better and newer with you together. So for better personalized proposals, and they're actually willing to provide you with more information. More interestingly is like once you have proven that you can deal with that information, then actually customers themselves start to share their concerns and potential with you, even sharing information that you hadn't even thought of or didn't even ask. And then actually they start spontaneously providing you with their concerns. And that's what we call a state of entrust. And entrust is way stronger than trust, because with trust you can act, but in a state of entrust the customers act actually spontaneously. From there, of course, new relational initiative is possible. Acting for better and newer together becomes possible. An interesting thing is that actually in those new initiatives, the customer will take a more committed stand and actually contribute more actively. So where in the first stage between trust and commitment, the initiative still lies with the company, and customers will see themselves as receivers of more value and also payers of more value. Actually, in the second stage between entrust and committed behavior, customers start actually taking more responsibility and accountability for the success of any new endeavor that is being onboarded. And then you can get into some kind of an infinity circle. So trust, yes, is important, but it simply should never be a stopping point. I hope you have a wonderful day and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.